There was a .data class generate extension by Brandix Ma, a very popular extension with over 200,000 users at one time, but suddenly it disappeared from the extension marketplace. After that, several .data class generators appeared in the marketplace. As of 2022, when I make this video, there are 5 .data class generator extensions. As you can see from the description, there is very little difference in functionality. Among them, the extensions made by HZGood and .up are the most popular among them. There is not much difference between the extension made by HZGood and the extension made by .up. I'll show you the differences later in a separate sheet. Among these two extensions, I'm using the extension made by .up. To see an example of using the .data class generator extension in the equatable package, I will create the simple Flutter app. Let's create the Flutter data class app with the Flutter create Flutter data class command from the command line. Next, move to the Flutter data class folder and run VS Code. Click on the extension marketplace icon on the left side of VS Code and type .data class generator in the search bar. Select and install the extension created by .up among the .data class generator extensions displayed here. I already installed it. When the installation is complete, close the window and click the settings icon in the lower left corner of VS Code and select the settings menu. Enter .data class generator in the displayed search bar. Then items related to .data class generator are displayed. In most cases, if you use the default value, there is no big problem. Scroll down and you will see the .data class generator use equatable entry. Please set this item to true. Then, in the future, the equality of the class in the hash code will use the equatable. When this item is enabled, the .data class generator provides a menu called Generate Equatable. If not using equatable, set Use Equatable to false. And if you set equality enabled and hash code enabled of .data class generator to true, .data class generator provides a menu called Generate Equality. And if you select this menu, it overrides equality operator and hash code. If equatable, equality, and hash code are all set to true, the Generate Equatable menu is created. However, as I said before, if deep equality for nested data is required, if you do not use equatable, additional tasks such as having to install a collection package and apply deep collection equality directly may occur. The equatable package automatically applies when deep collection equality is required. In addition to the combination of .data class generator and the equatable package, you can also use the freeze package. Since the freeze package uses code generation, it is difficult to read the generated code. However, the freeze package is a very powerful package. In particular, it is very useful in situations where sealed or union class must be used. Regarding the freeze package, I plan to upload it as a separate video on my YouTube channel. I will notify you when the video is uploaded. But in most cases, I think a combination of .data class generator and equatable package is sufficient. However, all members must be final when using the equatable package. Next, I will install the equatable package. After opening the terminal, run the flutter pub add equatable command. In the pubspec.yaml file, you can see that equatable is shown in the dependencies section. Next, I will remove the comment of avoid print in the analysis options.yaml file. Create a person.data file under lib folder and create the person class. As members, create integer type ID, string type name, and string type email. Then a red squiggle line is displayed under the member name and a light bulb shaped icon is also displayed on the left. Click on the light bulb icon to bring up a lot of menus. Select the generate constructor from the displayed menu. This will automatically create a named constructor. Next, choose generate equatable. The props list getter is displayed and all the members we declared are displayed within the list. If you want to exclude a specific item from the equality check target, you can delete it from the list. For example, if email is irrelevant, you can exclude email. Then, if the ID and name are the same, they are considered the same instance even if the email is different. The constructor gave a warning saying prefer declaring const constructor on immutable classes. Let's make the constructor a const constructor. Next, we'll run generate toString, generate copy with, generate JSON serialization. Then it overrides toString, create the copied function, and also create toMap, from map, to JSON, and from JSON functions. However, the names of functions corresponding to from JSON and to JSON that we have conventionally used are from map and to map here. However, when we usually create the from JSON function, most of the arguments are map type data, not JSON string. Actually, the name provided by the .data class generator is a more appropriate name. Later, when I need to serialize JSON using the .data class generator, I will modify the name according to the conventions and use it. The tasks we just did individually can be done at once by running the generate data class menu. Go to main.dot and create the person instances P1 and P2 whose ID is 1, name is John Doe, and email is johndoe@gmail.com in the main function, and then check whether the two objects are the same. First, we'll print whether the result of applying the identical function is the same, and then we'll print whether the two objects are the same. Let's run the simulator and test it. The result of applying the identical function is false, and the equality check is true. That is, two objects are not the same object in memory, but are considered the same object because they have the same members. But if you look, you get a lint warning saying prefer const with const constructor. So let's change all final to const and run it again. Both the result of applying the identical function and the result of equality check output true. But doing this is not in line with our intentions because the two objects are not compared. The .guide says constructing two identical compile time constants result in single canonical instance. Please refer to the following link for details. Again, let's change the const to final and select ignore prefer const constructors for this file to get rid of the lint warning. Next, delete the email from the props list. Change the email of P1 from gmail.com to gmail.co and run it again. True was output to the console. In other words, removing email from the props list means excluding it from comparison when you check for equality. We will add email again to the props of the person class and change co to com. And let's look at the class form when the person class is created using the .data class generator made by hsgood. When equatable is applied, the result of generate toString is expressed differently from the extension created by .up. Originally, stringify true is a result of applying the equatable, but it seems that there is no problem even if you use .up's toString. You can see that from map and to map are slightly different. This information can also be found in the attached file. In my opinion, there is no big difference even if you use hsgood, not .up. If you plan to use the one made by hsgood, I think there will be no problem if you recognize that there is such a difference and use it. In this way, we learned about the .data class generator and equatable. And if we need equality check in the class of the app we are going to create, we'll always use equatable. Finally, let's test one more thing. In the future Redux app, we'll create and use a view model. View model is a class that has data and methods required by UI. However, there is a caveat when using equality with this view model. We'll create the viewModel.data file under lib folder and create the viewModel class. Declare string type final variable name and void function type final variable do nothing. And run generate constructor and generate equatable using .data class generate extension and modify constructor to const constructor. We'll create the VM1 and VM2 whose name is Maria and the do nothing function prints nothing. Let's do a hard restart and test. Then the result is false because to nothing is assigned an anonymous function. So every time we create a viewModel instance, a new function instance is created. Next, let's create a class that makes printNothing an instance method. Create the viewModel2 class in viewModel.data file, declare a string type final variable name. Then generate constructor and generate equatable and modify the constructor to be a const constructor. And we'll create the function called printName of void type. Let's create a viewModel2 instance, VM3 and VM4, whose name is Jane Doe, and output whether the two objects are equal. Let's do a hard restart and test. In this case, of course, it turns out to be the same. When an anonymous function is received as an argument from the outside, the two instances are always different. In this case, when comparing instances, remove them from the props list unless there is a special reason to put the function in the comparison target. As you can see in the example, you can also consider making it an instance function. Next, let's take a look at performance optimization.